Hi everyone, and welcome back to our coverage of the 2025 Birkett Relay at the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. Quick recap on part one. Part one saw Mark Chappell go out and do a monster stint of about 1 hour 50, I nearly said 115 minutes, an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 20, something like that. Matt Footman took over and did his hour, and then Mark got back in the car for another 15-20 minutes or so to get the minimum laps up for the handicapper. That is where we finished the last video. That took us to about 2 hours 40 minutes into the race, and at that point we were leading Class D on handicap by about a minute. So yeah, to all intents and purposes, things were going great guns at that point. So now we join our team manager, Chris Fantana, on track for his first stint. You saw him there stretching his fingers and driving with no hands down the Wellington Straight. Good job, Chris. Chris normally runs in the 750 Motor Club Road Sport Series. Apologies, it's not a series, it's now a championship in Class D. He's had a great season and he finished in second place overall in the championship, which is a heck of an achievement given some of the other cars and outfits that also enter that class. Well done, Chris. The Birkett is his local circuit, or sorry, the Silverstone is his local circuit, and Chris always loves enjoying the Birkett as a way to round out the season, as we all do. Now, this little MX-5 is tasty. I don't know the power figures actually, but it's got a heck of a lot of grunt all through the back wheels, and being an open top car, it's a bit windier and a bit noisier than we're used to with Wooders, so we'll just deal with the audio. Go on, Chris, stick it. No, he didn't do it. I thought he was going to chuck one up the inside then, but no, Chris thinks it's safer to go around the outside at the next corner. Certainly more exciting. I do love this rear view mirror. What a luxury it must be to have a rear view mirror and actually be able to see things out of it. Woodstock's rear view mirror is horrendous. You can just about see something between the roll cage and the boot window and all that, but generally speaking we drive Woodstock on the wing mirrors. Chris's rear view mirror is so good that you don't really need a rear view camera for the footage afterwards. We can clearly see what's coming up behind him, which way it's going to go, and in some cases even identify the car. As I say that, I can't identify that car behind us right now. Looks like it could be a Porsche. Is it a Porsche about to overtake us on the Hamilton Straight? Let's have a quick look at the live stream. Yeah, it's a Porsche. I think it's a Porsche. Someone probably tell me it's not a Porsche. Either way. So we've, as I said a minute ago, we've got a lead in the Class D handicap, and astonishingly, when they published the overall handicap results after like 2.5-3 hours, we were in the top 3. Now, it was yo-yoing quite a lot because the handicappers do change things through the race, so it was difficult to get a true handle on it. But, you know, sometimes they'd publish it and we were in like 9th place. Once they published it and we were in 2nd or 3rd, and then 5th or 6th, and then back up to 2nd, and then down to 9th. It was all over the place. But we weren't concentrating on the overall handicap. What we wanted to do was establish ourselves as Class D champions, because that's what we've won for the last 3 years in a row. Smug face. But once we spotted that we were up there on the overall handicap, it started to become a bit of a thing because we'd never considered it. I think our best finish overall on handicap is 13th. We did that a couple of years ago. It might have been last year. I'm not overly sure. So, you know what? It looks like we're on for one of the best handicap results we've ever had, but we want to stay focused on the Class D situation. And is this a MX-5 in front? It looks almost like a... I was going to say an MGF, but I don't remember seeing one of those out there. But yeah, we've gone to safety car. There were a lot of safety cars in this Birkett relay. I couldn't tell you what the average number is, but I don't think we ever went more than like 35-40 minutes of clear running without at least one safety car. There was just something in the water on this particular occasion, and it's arguable whether safety cars help us or hinder us. On one hand, everybody running at the same speed means cars that have been given less handicap credit laps than us forfeit the opportunity to exploit their pace and catch that handicap up. The downside is that the car in front of you could be in the opposite situation and you're forfeiting your chance to catch them. So depending on where you are in the pack, who's in front, who's behind, determines whether safety cars are a good thing or a bad thing for you. And given the nature of the Birkett, it's really difficult to keep track of that. So you just settle in, you just think, you know what, I'm just going to fuel save, I'll sit where I am, I'll extend my stint a little bit. The reason for extending the stints where we can, every pit stop in this race costs you about 30 seconds of track time overall, and that's because of having to slow down and go through the pit lane at a much slower speed. Now, by extending your pit window, you don't save a pit stop by the end of the race. That doesn't happen. But by running longer, you increase your chances of hitting a safety car. Some people will have pitted the very lap before this safety car and they'll be kicking themselves. So if they'd managed to save fuel, do an extra 2 or 3 laps, they could have caught this safety car and saved themselves 30 seconds overall on their race time. So safety car's now over, we're back under green flag racing, and that MG ahead of us is a nice little target to aim for. I've always considered the Mazdas and the MGFs quite similar. You know, they're both funky little 2-seater roadsters, and I've always wanted a Mazda and MGF race series. I don't know if one ever existed or not to my knowledge, but I've always thought that they'd become quite tribal, you know, the one gang against the other, and the cars are quite closely matched as well. So this is a little preview of something that I've always wanted to see, assuming that is an MGF ahead of us. I'm pretty sure it is, but I'll look stupid if it's not. Now, handling wise, the cars are quite similar, but just to give you a quick comparison to Woodstock, Woodstock is front wheel drive, so he's light. Are we back under safety car? Is that another yellow flag there? Did I see a yellow flag? I can't remember when I saw that light panel flashing. Yeah, and Chris is back right off. So I thought we were going to enjoy a nice little battle then. But then, is that a green? It doesn't sound like Chris is going full chat here, but I know he is coming out the corner. I wish I knew what was going on. Just for reference, it's now the Sunday over a week after the Birkett. It's taken me this long to get all the footage together to the point where I can do the voiceover on it. And if you'd have asked me half an hour after I got out the car what happened, I would have struggled to tell you because your memory is all over the place. And then as the dust settles through the week, things come back to you. But I can't remember where we actually are in this. I'm embarrassing myself now. I'm sorry. Come on, let's just get past that MG. We're in green flag conditions. Let's go for it. We've got some stuff stacking up in the rear view mirror, though. You can see that. Oh, look how good Chris is on the brakes there. Holds the gap nicely. Closes up. We've got some leaders coming through. But the MG's rocketing away on the exit. That makes me think that they've got much more power, because Chris had a good run through the corners there, but the MG still managed to pull out a good 10 car lengths down the hanger straight. However, Chris may have feathered a fraction to let that other car through, and we got something in the rearview mirror. Is this that grey VRS? I think this is the one that was a little bit naughty earlier in the race. No, it's not. Apologies. That's an RX-8. I wonder if this RX-8 will cause problems for the MG ahead and Chris will have another chance to overtake it. Yeah, let's wait and see. So what was I talking about? The characteristics. So Woodstock is low power through the front wheels and Chris's MX-5 is low power through the rear wheels. I say low power, it's all relative. Woodstock and this MX-5 are both very small, lightweight cars, so the amount of power that we've got is perfectly appropriate for them. Oh, a little lock up there. Oh, the Mazda's run wide. Is he going to rejoin safely? Yes, he is. But the MG... I saw the MG running wide. I thought Chris was going to do the switchback, but he stayed wide to let that Honda through. But come on, let's get a good exit onto the Wellington straight. Look how wide the MG had to go there. Really compromised. But they do start pulling away again down the straight. That's the power kicking in. But Chris is, just from watching this from an analytical point of view, Chris is much better on the brakes and corner speed, and he tends to get the power down a little bit as well. So cue them two cat and mouse in for 2 or 3 laps. We've just fast forwarded, and you know what's coming, obviously, because this is where I stopped the fast forward. Like I said, much better on the brakes and apex speed. So nice and brave into the corner, chuck it in, check the mirror, claim the position. Nice one, Chris. Just make sure he doesn't come back at you again. But again, you can see in the rearview mirror the MG has resigned themselves to staring at Chris's back end for the foreseeable. BMW on the right clearly got a problem. They're normally way quicker than that. They must be off to the pit lane. But look at the MG, much quicker down the straight. Chris has gone left to try and defend, and I'm guessing that move didn't happen because I put the video into fast forward mode. I'm sorry, but I feel like the edit's all over the place here. I had to get Chris's stint, which was about an hour, down to sort of 25-30 minutes so that the video would all add up in the end. Because politely and respectfully to Chris, you don't want to sit through an hour of just driving around. Same goes for Matt in the car, myself and Mark. Just have to try and pick the best bits out. So where have we restarted the footage? It looks like Chris's timer says 6-7 minutes to go, something like that. So at this point, I am in the garage in Woodstock getting ready to go. I have been in Woodstock ready to go since Chris left the garage because, that was tasty, wasn't it? Nice little dab of Oppo, getting busy with some traffic, and it's always nice when an older MX-5 overtakes a newer MX-5, and if he's going to do it around the outside at Abbey, that would be pretty special. Keep checking the mirror, you're clear. Oh, there's a Caterham. Yeah, clear of the MX-5, so take your racing line, but then quickly get off the racing line because there's a Caterham coming through. I love it, it's just brilliant. And what's next? Is this a white BMW 1 Series? If it is, no, it's not. Just ignore me, I'm talking nonsense. But again, Chris nicely up the inside, doesn't lose any time with that overtake and manages to get out of the way of this orange and black Audi down the Wellington. So how long has Chris got left? About 5 minutes. So yeah, I'm in the garage, just ready to go because I don't know exactly when Chris is going to come in. Give or take 10 or 15 minutes of the intended. Jaguar. Remember that Jaguar from earlier? Had a good ding-dong with Mark in the first stint. Don't know if it's the same driver. We saw how quickly the Jaguar pulled away from Woodstock, and you can now see it pulling away from Chris in this Mazda. So, yeah, that gives you a bit of a benchmark. Chris was running, I'm going to guess, beautiful braking and corner speed there, gets right on the boot lid. That's brilliant. We've got a faster car in the mirror, and we know we're going to be quicker than this Jaguar through the Beckett's and Maggots complex. So how's this going to play out? Because everyone's getting held up now. Honda goes to the outside. Chris knows that he's going to get brilliant. there should be a name for that kind of move where you're braking, you can just get off the brakes and let the car roll in and grab yourself a car length or two. I was going to say Chris knows he's likely going to get monstered down the straight by the Jaguar, but the Jaguar had to get well out of the throttle then because of Chris going for it. Great racecraft, Chris, respect. And because he had to get out of the throttle, it's meant that he didn't have the legs down the straight. So listen, well done, Chris. I'm sorry, I don't feel like I did your stint justice here. Chris is hammering 2 minutes 42s, 2 minutes 43s, a good 3-4 seconds faster than myself and Mark in Wooders, and a good couple of seconds faster than Matt as well. Now that was to be expected. There's me getting ready to go on the right hand side. Off I come out of the pits now. So yeah, it was to be expected that Chris was quicker, but he kept up his end of the bargain and actually went quicker. So yeah, brilliant stint, Chris. Well done. We are in contention. We've got another stint down with no issues, which is exactly what we were wanting. Now, as a general rule, I love the Silverstone GP circuit. It does take a lot of stick from club racers like myself because they call it flat and featureless. Yeah, it is flat. I wouldn't say it's featureless though. You've got some iconic corners. You know, anyone who throws a race car into cops and means it, you know what, respect, because it's a hell of a corner. And this little complex here where we are now, Birkett and Maggots, in a Formula 1 car, they enter that over 180 miles an hour. Oh, we're into a safety car straight away. I've forgotten that. Yeah, my first lap out was a safety car lap. Or was it? There were yellow flags, I can't remember if it's a safety car. But yeah, and the Hanger Straight where Nigel Mansell did that famous dummy on Nelson Piquet, right about where we are now. Yeah, it does look like a safety car, this one. So, yeah, it's flat and featureless, whatever. It's flat, but there's a lot going on at this circuit. You've got some fast corners, you've got heavy braking, there's a bit of off-camber, you've got to use the curbs at some corners, avoid them at others, exercise patience at some corners, and really get on with it at others. And I like it because with it being a long lap, you can really get into a flow. I thought we were under safety car, and that geez has just overtaken us. Maybe it was just a local yellow, I can't remember. But yeah, I like it because it's a long lap and you can really get into a good rhythm and flying around, and having long straights between the corners gives you a bit of time for a mental reset, so that you know, if something goes wrong, you can never make up for it, but you can sort of process it in your brain a little bit before you get to the next corner. You try doing that somewhere like Cadwell and you're just going to end up way off the circuit having a nightmare. So I like Silverstone in that respect. It gives you a bit of a breather, it tests you in all kinds of conditions, and in the Birkett Relay even more so, because of the speed disparities between all the different cars. Now ahead of us we've got, ignore the Caterham, the white BMW ahead of us is the, I'm going to get this wrong, I'm going to say the Army or the RAF, or maybe it's just Armed Forces car, I'm not sure. A little bit like with Chris's MX-5, this BMW is rear-wheel drive, and I think they're diesel as well. I could be wrong on that, but I think they're diesel. So we set very similar lap times to the 1 Series. They run in their own series with the 750 Motor Club, and our lap times in Woodstock, they're normally within a second or two. Sometimes we're quicker than them, sometimes they're quicker than us. But of course, over the course of a long lap like this, it means that is that another yellow coming into Cop's Corner? It looks like it. So yeah, I think we've gone full safety car now. It might have been local yellow earlier, but now full safety car. So yeah, the BMW, we've got very similar lap time, but we get that lap time in different areas around the track. So if we were in a straight race, it would be a really, really good fight. I don't know what class they're in, what their handicap situation is, but I know that if I can hang on to this BMW, I'll be doing all right. So I'm kind of using it as a bit of a pacer. Now, again, it's a little bit difficult doing that because some of the BMWs are driven a lot quicker than some of the other drivers. So I don't know what we've got in front of us.
Ian.
Oh, hang on a minute. Matt's on the telly.
I've got Matthew Footman. Matthew, you said a minute ago, we're doing quite well in the handicap. Actually, when on the screen was before you walked down it, you were leading it.
Yeah, we were leading overall, which I don't think we've ever done before. But it's been good fun. Tricky when the rain came. But, that's part of the Birkett, really. I think there's always a bit of weather around. But John's out at the moment, doing some good laps, I hope. Chris has come in, he's done his stint. Mark's done really well, started the race, done really well. I've done 70 minutes, fought through the rain, and when I come back, we were leading overall on handicap, and first in Class D, which is good.
Well, that's pretty good news, that is. But what it means is that you're beating the handicap, really, with the conditions. So, good for you.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm slower than I was last year. So, it's not bad to be, at the top. So, when there's more pace in the car, we should be even further ahead. But I think we've dropped down to third or fourth now. But it's been a while since I last checked.
Well, actually, when we came down, you had gone back up to the front, so top of the time. But where do you race the Puma?
Road Sports, 750 Road Sports, BRSCC Club Sport Trophy, BRSCC Production Cup, but mostly Road Sports is where this has done most of its racing, and where I've done most of my racing.
So, good luck, and we've got one more session to go.
Yeah, I've got one more hour to do. I think it's an hour. It depends what Chris decides as his team manager. We do as we're told, but we work well together. Me, John, Chris and Mark have done this for 3 years as a combination, and we work really well. So we just get on, we do a job, and we have fun at the same time.
Okay, Matthew, thank you very much, and I'll let you get suited and booted for that last session.
Welcome, thank you very much.
Thank you too. There we go.
Nice one. Good job, Matt. It's always a bit daunting when someone shoves a microphone in your face, but I think you did really well there. Reiterating the point about how well we all get on as a team. We really do. We've known each other a long time, and I can't remember when we first did the Birkett together. I'm going to say 2019, something like that. And, we always meet up throughout the year. Sometimes Chris and Matt come and support me and Mark. Sometimes we go and support them, depending on how the calendars are, because they race with different clubs in different series. And, of course, every year before the Birkett, we all go for a curry together, either in Brackley or Toaster. That's become a tradition, which, you know what, even if I don't race in the Birkett one year, I'm still going to go for a curry, whether it's at Silverstone or just in Sheffield where I live, because a curry before the Birkett is it's kind of the done thing these days. So, right then, where are we? We are approaching the loop. I can't see the timer on my screen, so I don't know how far into my stint I am. But I'm trying to push on now. Mark did a great job earlier in the race, and I've got his data on my timer, so I'm kind of chasing his lap time and using him as a benchmark, as well as the other cars around me. Now, I've clearly fast forwarded the video to this little bit, because look at that thing in front of us. If you don't know what that is, it's an Ariel Nomad. You might know Ariel for their most famous car, which is the Atom, the one that famously pulled Jeremy Clarkson's face to pieces when he drove it, and they got involved in the off-road sort of buggy market with the Nomad. I've only ever seen one out on the road. That was in Anglesey a couple of years ago, and this is the very first time I've ever seen one on a track. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you that. I forgot it was coming up just then. Caterham flew past me and then barely a foot off my front bumper, pulled back in front and hit the brakes. Gave me very little time to react. That could have been quite naughty, that one. But yeah, part and parcel, it happens. So yeah, that Nomad, it shouldn't, I've never seen one racing for, I don't want to say it shouldn't be on the track, that's obviously ridiculous. It looks great. But it was pretty quick down the straights, but it had that serious body roll around the corners. They were losing a lot of time there. But, you know, do you stiffen the thing up and improve that? It stops being an aerial nomad if you do that. You know, it kind of reminds me of the race cars or the beach buggies that you'd see on the TV shows back in the 90s. Now, I've fast forwarded my stint here because, yeah, not a great deal's happening, I'm afraid. I say not much is happening. There's always something happening at the Birkett, as you've gathered. But before we got talking about that Nomad, I was saying I was trying to use Mark's lap times from earlier in the day as a benchmark. And you know what? I was starting to have doubts about things. I was struggling with traffic, as you can see here. And I remember this one. I know exactly what happened here. Round the outside, threw it up the inside, much like Chris did to that car in the previous stint. It's a good place to overtake that, especially in the Puma, because we're not light and nimble and we can get the car turned a lot tighter than some of the other cars. But yeah, chasing down Mark's lap times, and I was starting to get concerned because even on clear runs, I was losing tenths here and there, and I couldn't really put it down to anything. You see here, I couldn't get to the apex. Oh, that's because there was a car on my inside. Okay, bad timing on the voiceover there, John. But long story short, something just didn't quite feel right. I was really struggling with what I would call bite at the front. If I put a bit too much pressure on the brake pedal, it would just lock up. And by too much, I mean like a tiny fraction too much. If I stood on the accelerator a fraction too early or tried to attack the exit of the corner, I was just washing out with understeer. And all of these things, but they point to one of two things. The circuit conditions have changed, but that's a more gradual thing. Or am I going to overtake the BMW? No, I'm going to let him have this one, aren't I? Try and get the switch back down the straight. Or the tyres are done. And I have to say, I don't want this to sound like racing drivers' excuses, but the tyres that we've got on the front at the moment, they are very close to the end of their service life. I monitor all of the tyres we run through the year by the amount of minutes that they have been out on circuit. And generally speaking, we get about 600 minutes per tyre. That's an average figure because some circuits are harder than others on the tyres. Am I going to get up the inside of the BMW this time? Oh, a little bit of a wobble. No, that's what I'm talking about. I stuck the front end in and it just didn't stick and had to correct it. And then the understeer here, you can see the steering lock's going on and then we start to wind it off for the exit. But yeah, just late on the throttle. That said, got a good run on the BMW here, up the inside. That's where Mark Chappell likes to overtake cars. Double check that we've cleared it before going over to the racing line. Take note, Caterham driver from earlier, and then we'll commit to cops and crack on with our lap. So yeah, I monitor the tyre life through the year, and these tyres, we came into the event on about 480 minutes, so they've got 2 hours left essentially. Mark did a bit over an hour, and of course I tried to, but my lap times were off, so I made the conscious decision to get into the pits and essentially do my stint over early. I was losing time relative to the other cars in the class, and somebody had to short stint because of Mark's minimum laps, and the original plan was for Chris to short stint, but it made far more sense for me to be the one to sacrifice 15 minutes of running because I was going 2, possibly 3 seconds a lap slower than we were anticipating Woodstock to do. So there's me giving the thumbs up to Matt. He's about to go out on circuit, and I'm going to go to a live debrief in the paddock of my stint. Right, I'm back in the paddock. I've just done my stint, and I'm not really happy with it, to tell you the truth. I was just struggling for pace. Hang on, Mark's coming back. What you forgot? Yeah, I was struggling for pace. I went out under a safety car, so I had about 2-3 laps to get the tyres up to temperature, which was great. That was a good way to start. But then I got my foot down and the lap timer says 2 minutes 50, cool. 2 minutes 49, cool. 47, cool. 46, yes, this is good. I should be doing 42s, 43, so it's going in the right direction. And then it's like I just plateaued at 46s, and I just really struggled. Loads and loads of understeer, and it got to the point where I'm trying to unlock pace. I think, right, I'll brake a bit later. So I tried, but then the front wheels just locked up and pushed me straight on. So it's like, well, braking later's not working. So I decided, I'll concentrate on my exits, getting the power down a bit earlier. And when I did that, the car would just understeer and wash out to the edge of the circuit, so I had to get off the throttle. And that cost me my momentum going down the next straight. So I was really struggling with that. So yeah, braking wasn't working, power on exit wasn't working, and I just couldn't hook it up. And the only thing I can think of really is, well, either the tyres got way too hot or they're just dead. I think we've literally taken them off the cliff, and that's just a stone. I don't know, I'll have to get them off and have a proper look, but we always thought we were going to be fairly close on the tyres this weekend. They've done a lot of mileage, these ones, and I think they've just had enough. So I suggested over the radio to the guys, look, because Mark had to do his extra laps, that meant that somebody was going to have to short stint. Chris volunteered to do the shorter stint, but with me being off the pace, it kind of made sense that I do the short stint. So after about 40 minutes, I came into the pits and handed over to Matt. Timing wise, it's worked out quite well, because Matt's on the circuit now and he's going to be doing... Oh, hello. Yes, yeah.
I was in the 21.
Just so you know, I'm recording, is that cool?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, sound. 21, which one?
The one that the white 1 series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've just loaded onto the trailer now.
Good, well, we're going to have some good footage, assuming the cameras worked.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I had to move one of mine around because, the other one just... As I was about to go out, it bleeped the memory card full, so I thought,
Oh, man, I'd love to see it, yeah. It was a funny old session, that.
Yeah, good fun.
Yeah, well, we weren't as quick as we should have been.
No.
And I'm thinking the tyres are just shot. We should have probably...
In the corners, that's where I was
exactly. Yeah. Normally this thing's strength is in the corners, but it was just understeering, washing out everywhere. I was like, we shouldn't have put... Well, it's one of them, you don't want to buy a new set of tyres for the last race of the year then sit on them all winter, so I ended up doing a short stint, and then the next lad's gone out instead. But
the tyres I've got on there at the minute, I think we're doing like the practice qualifying for the race of remembrance, and that's about it for them tyres then.
Yeah, it's that time of year, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to spend 700 quid on a new set of tyres and then not use them for 6 months? It's like, nah, I'll hang on for a bit. So it's one of them.
Yeah, it was great fun.
I enjoyed the battle. I felt because like, we shouldn't be battling, but hey, you get what you get. Oh, good for you, man. Good for you. Yeah, has team done all right?
Yeah, this has been doing all right. Yeah, still going strong at the minute.
No mechanicals, no.
Not yet.
That was nice, wasn't it? Getting to meet Ben. I think I pretty much said everything I wanted to say prior to him coming over, and then just chatting to him. You probably heard everything I was going to say anyway. So we're going to start packing up bits and bobs so we can make a bit of an exit afterwards. Oh, Mike's back. Hi, Mike. Hello. Look at that. Mike doesn't like being on camera. He's just like, I'm going. You film it. I know, he's all right. It's all right. No, it's fine. Who's out of the minute? Matt's out at the minute. We've probably got an hour left, so Chris is going to be going out very soon with a view to finishing off. It's Chris's local track and he's team manager, so we always give him the privilege of seeing the checkered flag. Last time I checked, we were still leading Class D on the handicap, so yeah, assuming that's, well, I hope it's not changed. Who knows, maybe the next update will have us either all throwing our arms in the air and cheering and kissing and cuddling, or we'll all be kicking Mike out of anger, just yeah. Well, stay tuned and find out.